Hola chicos y chicas. Okay, you should have a paper that looks a little bit like this one. And this is called the tener notes. And the reason they're called the tener notes is because they're going to cover this word right here, tener, which is fairly important in Spanish, so it has its own set of notes. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to define the word conjugating. This word right here. You're going to hear that one a lot this year and especially next year in Spanish too. So, what is conjugating? So, conjugating is changing the verb to match who is doing it. So, what is a verb? Well, a verb is an action word, and the one that we're covering today is right here, tener. And tener means to have. As in, I want to have a fast car, or I want to have $1 million. So, tener means to have. Okay, so this is why it's important to conjugate. And we actually do this in English. It's just that in Spanish we do it a lot more than in English. But this is an example here. If we just simply write this phrase, ella tener un iPhone, this is what we wrote. She to have an iPhone. So, she to have an iPhone is of course wrong. That's not the way we speak, and it's grammatically incorrect. So, what about if we change the verb? If we just simply write, she have an iPhone. Well, that's still wrong. It's wrong because this is the wrong form of the verb. We conjugate it incorrectly. So what's the right answer? What's right here on the right-hand side? She has an iPhone. So this change right here is what conjugating is, and it's essentially what we have to do in Spanish. And again, in Spanish, works just like in English, but we do it a lot more frequently. Alright, so this is how it's done. You're going to see these charts a lot in this class, and again, more in Spanish too. Your Spanish 2 teachers will love doing this. So, the chart you see here has a total of 6 squares, so 5 squares, sorry. 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to clear that up. 5 squares. Okay. And this chart is actually divided into 2 sections. The first section right here, which goes along with this one, have something in common. All of these subject pronouns are for one person. One person. So these will be for one person. The ones on the right-hand side are for more than one person. Okay. Okay, so let's now conjugate the word tener. And I'm going to write it up here. Tener. So we can't use tener with yo, because again that would give us I to have, which is wrong. So the way that we do this is we just simply change the verb. So yo tengo. That means I have. Tú. You. To say you have, we can't say yo tener, and we definitely can't say yo tengo, because tengo only goes with yo. It's tú tienes. Right there. Tú tienes. Usted, él and ella, go with this box right here, and that is tiene. Nosotros and nosotras, which mean we. To say we have, we can't say yo tener again, that's wrong. It's nosotros, we tenemos, right there. And finally, ustedes, which is y'all, ellos and ellas, which means they, is tienen. So now let's start with the examples. It says circle the verb. And we're doing this in English. So number 1, I have practice. Number 2, he has a TV. Number 3, we have concert tickets. And number 4, Henry and I have Spanish class. So let's do number 1. I have practice. Well, the verb is the action part of the sentence, which is that. Number 2, he has a TV. Has. 3, we have concert tickets. Have. And finally, Henry and I have Spanish. So what I want you to take away from this is that the verb, which we have circled, we couldn't use the word have, that one. We couldn't use it here, could we? We couldn't say he have a TV. That's wrong. So that's what I want you to take away from these, that these verbs are changing according to who is doing them in the sentence. Let's do them in Spanish now. So I have the chart right here for reference. So let's do number 6. Yo blank práctica de basquetbol. So in English, this is what we want to say. We want to say I have basketball practice. Well, we're missing the word for have. So we're going to look at the chart. We find yo right here. And we just simply match it up with this one. Yo tengo. Right there. Yo tengo práctica de basquetbol. Number 2. 2 blank música de Justin Bieber. So, in English, this is what we want to say. You have Justin Bieber music? Well, we're missing the word for have. We can't use this one because that's only with yo. So, we have to look at the chart, and the chart tells us that tú uses tienes. So, the word is tú tienes. You have. Alright, the next one, number 8. El blank un carro bueno. In English, he has a good car. So, let's find out what the missing word is, which is has. Well, the pronoun el is right there, and it tells us to use that one. El tiene un carro bueno. Number 9. Nosotros blank buenas notas. In English, we have good grades. So if we look at the chart once again, nosotros right there, we use this and only that. Nosotros tenemos buenas notas. We have good grades. Next, number 10. Henry y ella blank la clase de español. Alright, so in English, Henry and her have Spanish class. So, if we're looking at the chart, we don't see Henry, and we don't see the pronoun she or her. We don't see it here. We see names right there. So we got to determine, we got to figure out where Henry y ella will fit. Remember what I told you about this chart? Remember I said it's divided into 2? Well, this part right here is for 2 or more people. So at least we know that our answer choices are going to be that or that. We should not look at this side at all. Okay, so now that we know that, Henry y ella, Henry and her, well, we can just substitute that with ellos, they, which then gives us only one possibility, tienen. So the answer for number 10 is Henry y ella tienen la clase de español. Number 11. Señor Marín, usted blank una calculadora. Mr. Marín, you blank a calculator. Mr. Marín, you have a calculator. It's that simple. So these are easy because we see that usted and it's right there. So that's the word, that's the missing verb. Usted tiene una calculadora. And finally, number 12, tú y ella blank muchos amigos. You and her have a lot of friends. Okay, again, we don't see a name. We don't see a name, and we definitely do not see a subject pronoun. So it's a little tricky because we have to fit it. We have to fit that before we choose this word. We have to fit this somewhere here on this chart. So where does it fit best? Well, we know that it's not going to fit here because this is for one person and these are for two or more. So we know that it has to be right there. So tú y ella is going to fit best right there. You all. So the answer and the missing word for tú y ella, tienen muchos amigos. You and her have a lot of friends. So to recap everything that we've done, the verb tener, which means to have, changes into 5 forms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these work sort of like a puzzle piece in which yo goes with tengo and only with tengo. Tú goes only with tienes. Usted, él, and ella can only match up with tiene. Nosotros and nosotras with tenemos. And finally, ustedes, ellos, y ellas is with tienen. So these match up like a puzzle piece. You cannot mix and match these. What that means is that you cannot use yo with tienen. No, yo must go with tengo. Tienes must go with tú, and so on and so forth.